Okay. Lesson 15. So this is our linear regression model. All right.
There's a lot of writing.
Okay. Now you probably know in algebra that this is, if y equals mx plus b. We use that for our line of best fit. So statisticians, of course, want to change everything. So here is what all of them represent. So here's our defining as far as our thank you. There you go. Always can depend on Caleb for fussing at me. All right, so yeah, you can see that the A is your y-intercept, the B is your slope, and then our y-hat, that's our predicted, and then the x is representing our explanatory. Okay. All right. It talks about that we do need the value of the y-intercept in order to draw the line, but it is only statistically meaning when the explanatory variable takes on a value that's close to 0. And we're going to be using that concept because you understand that the y-intercept is when x is 0. So we'll use that to do our explanations as well.
So statistics just completely separate from other math. Like x and y have vectors, right? I just don't like people like a math class.
It's homework.
Rewrote everything, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Also, there are questions on the AP exam about, as far as the extrapolation, that, think about this, and this has to do with, why would I use a value that is not within the range, right? So that's what it's talking about. Why would I do that? That's like using an outlier, right? Why would I do that? So you got to think about the range. That's what we're always going to look at. So there's a lot of tricky questions on the AP exam that talk about that right there. Okay? All right. Let's see. As far as the error of the prediction variable, we're going to actually be doing some calculating on those. Now, if you remember back in, I know it was taught in 8th grade with the line of best fit. When you have all of this data and you generate that line of best fit, would you agree that that line of best fit is based off of the average of something and you always use that to help predict blah, blah, blah? Well, look at your point of what they're saying here. That there is one point that all the regressions pass through, and that is the average x value, comma, the average y value. Does that not make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
So is that not specific? Is that mean still?
Yeah, x bar and y bar. Yep, that's the mean. We're thinking about this because we're using our line of best fit is going to be used, or linear regression model is going to be used to help predict whatever the scenario is. So we can plug in whatever we want to evaluate it at and generate that. Okay, you should have the hours on social media and the test scores already on in your list, right? L1, L2. Okay. Now go and grab from the calculate screen the number 8 for your linear regression. Make sure that your X list and your Y list is in there. Let me pull up the screenshots for you. So this is the next step that we're going to do. So you should be here. You should be, plugging in your L1, L2, or whatever, whichever list that you have it in. This is the screen where your cursor needs to be at, where it says store regular equation or regression equation. That's what it says. This is how we would always use where we want to put that y equal at. Okay? So when your cursor is there, you can hit your vars button, which is going to help. We're going here now. I'm going to hit my vars button, which will bring up this screen. And notice I have y vars tabbed over. Okay? So from this screen, hit the vars button. You have a button that says vars, V-A-R-S, for variables. Then this will come up. Tab over to get the y vars to see this particular screen. Number 1 is what we're going to do. So the function is saying y1, y2, y3, y. So that's what functions are. So what am I going to tell it to store it in? Well, if I don't have anything in y1, then I'm going to tell it to store it in my very first y equal. So that's going to store it in this particular one. Okay? That's what I'm telling it to do. I don't necessarily have to go there right now. I'm telling it to do that though. So once I tell it here, store it in whichever y function I want it in, then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to hit calculate. Okay?
How'd you get to that other screen?
Which one? This one right here? Vars.
And then you tab over.
Yep, tab over to y vars.
Yeah, no, I got that. I'm saying.
You are telling to put in your linear regression equation into y1 automatically.
Function.
Can you explain that again?
Yes. So are you here?
Yes.
So put your cursor down to where we're going to tell it to store. Okay. From there, hit your vars button. Yep, I'm going to hit my vars button. So now I'm going to tab over to the y vars. So now you should see this screen. Okay. Notice I have number 1 because I'm in function. I'm not in parametric or anything. Then when I hit that button, it's going to show y1, y2, y3, y4. Whichever function you want to put it in there. Okay?
Does it matter?
So I just because I did 2 different ones, so I have mine in particular ones.
Does it just have to be the X?
And then hit calculate.
Does it just have to be?
Are you
Okay.
trying to graph it?
Then, yeah, we're going to.
Well, how do you know which one's right? Y1 or Y2?
Whichever one you tell it to put it in.
Does it matter?
Pick it where you want it.
Where you want
What
it.
even is it?
It's
If
just
you want
a
to get in
tab.
the Y values, you can put it into the graph.
Press enter.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
Like I got 2 different ones in mine because I actually put 2 different sets of scatter plots in mine plus 2 different linear regressions. So when I do mine, it's going to show 2 different sets. But I know which one is which. I think I have my age and hours of sleep, and then I have social media. Yeah, then hit calculate. So it should bring up your screen that shows your equation and shows your correlation coefficient. It should show all of that for you, right? Okay, so at the bottom, okay, you should, there's the Inspire shortcut right there. Then you should see, now, is this the one where mine was different? I think this is the same. Did you get those numbers?
Mine just says A equals.
Yeah,
A equals 94.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
yes, okay, negative 4.2, okay. Because there was one that mine is different. And I could not find if she like typed something in wrong, but I tripled, quadrupled,
Wait,
checked
your
my
A or
information.
B equals
So it's A
It's A plus BX, so A is your y-intercept, B is your slope. Okay. Now, make a side note once you write all this down. Always write your linear, or they call it the least squares regression line. That's what this LSRL is representing. Always write it in the context form. This is your context form. So notice they swapped out what the y is representing. In other words, you're putting it in words. And this is what the x is representing. So whenever you're writing this for any type of assessment, make sure that you swap it out and put it in context form. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Are you good there? Okay. All right, so now we're going to take, okay, so now we're doing the interpretation. So notice that example 2 says, I wish I could scooch this up real quick. Identify the slope, okay, and then we have to put that into, so once we identify it, then we have to interpret it and put it in context.
Negative 4.23.
So negatives, yep, so our slope, which is our b, is negative 4.2340, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
So every hour spent on social media, your grade goes down that much.
Yep. And remember that you do not put the negative with the number. The word you're using will let us know the negative piece to that. Okay? So here's what. So make sure that with the decreases part. So for every hour spent on social media, the predicted test score decreases. Because remember, your Y's is predicted test score. It decreases by those particular points per percent. And then the next piece is your y-intercept. Let me scooch this up for you. So you should have the understanding that a y-intercept is when your x is 0. Right? Just thinking about the common graphing part to it. So you're always going to use, when you have to interpret this, your explanatory variable to be 0. So here it's the hours spent on social media.
Is there another way to identify mean? Another way to represent it?
Say now what?
Is there another way to represent mean besides the X with a line over it?
Yeah, there's a couple of
The U and right?
yeah, there's a couple of different
Standard deviation.
things.
No, it's the other one, but six.
Like
Mm, Sigma looking thing, yeah. There's a couple different ones that they use. X bar is kind of the majority one that they always use, but there's a lot of different ways to write it.
I'm talking about for other classes, which makes meaning and vectors and stuff. That confused me a little bit of time in class.
Yeah. Usually with vectors, like I've seen,
They can bold it too.
huh?
They can bold vectors, I know.
Yeah. And then they have the little half arrow, like the little line, and then the half arrow to it. That's a vector.
I remember.
That's the notation that I've always used. Some of them use the caret hat. Yeah. I in my honors pre-calc, I try to use both types. I've done the little line, I've done the caret hat, and I've done the bold. I think you should be exposed to all different types. Okay.
Why does it keep saying %/point?
I guess that's what the,
Oh, because it's a test score, it's mean %.
yeah. So 3 was the y-intercept. So then 4, okay, this is where, remember, we're using that linear regression model, okay? So it's asking, well, what would we predict the test score to be if we spent 4 hours on social media? So that should make mathematical sense, right? To plug in the 4 for your variable that's representing the hours. Remember that extrapolation piece of talking about something that's outside the range that we're dealing with as far as the data. So this one they're asking about 20 hours on social media. Why would we do that? Right, ours goes up to 16, so 20 is something that's outside of that. So 16 was our highest number as far as hours collected. Not going to use that. All right, so as you're waiting, make sure you get the next table up. I did mine in L3 and L4 for the age and the hours of sleep. Now this one is, I had different numbers than what this is going to show. So you want me just like right underneath what she has, or you want me just get a clean piece of paper out?
Can I put it in Y1 again, or does it matter? For the example 6?
I put mine in Y2.
Does it really matter?
Does it matter?
No, it will just replace it.
So for this one, when I set it up, I got A equals negative. I got the numbers, but they were switched to A and B. I don't know what I put.
Oh, yeah, because look at the equation that you're using.
Okay.
So always make sure that you go and you grab the number 8, because look at number 4.
Oh, I
Let's
picked
see how it's
4.
flip-flop.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So what do we put? We still put Y1. So that
If you want to. Like, I've looked at, since we've been dealing with these particular data sets the whole time, I kept it in mind. So like I have my L1, L2 for Y1. I have my L3, L4 for Y2.
Okay.
So I'm telling, like, mine is staying in my calculator like that.
Okay.
So
it
like,
doesn't have to be like that?
no. So like I got 2 different sets in my Y1, Y2. So I know which list is going with which.
Okay.
That, yeah. And you get more comfortable with, you know, then that's why they have so many that's in here. You could store up to so many. Yeah. All right, so our next, so here's the age and hours of sleep. Okay, bless you.
Thank you.
I got different numbers on this one, so I'm curious on what numbers that you guys got.
You get 10.226
Yeah.
minus
Yeah.
0.08498.
Right, so like when I scrolled up and I saw this on the answer key, I'm like, oh, that's not what I got. And I doubled, tripled, quadrupled checked all of my numbers. And
Wait, you got a different.
Yeah,
is there something different?
She's saying.
Yeah. So-
Yeah, like it's not what, yeah, I've checked this over and over and over again. I don't know. But anyway, you guys know what to put in. Like I'm gonna show what, where's my stat? 8, L3.
So do you? Is this one?
I'm gonna show in the thing that this is what I got on mine. Okay. Right. Yeah, so I got,
Wow. Wait, no, never mind.
what?
Nothing.
And this is wrong. This right here, you see how there's a negative? Nope. Do not put that. So yours would be negative 0.08497, blah, 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 right? That is definitely wrong. That should not be there. So here, I got 10.
Yeah, this whole thing is wrong, but
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go out to those digits. And then I had minus 0, 8. I mean, let's round to that one. Okay. Yeah, and in the calculator screenshots for this one, all it goes up to is like, I can only verify this particular data set. I can't verify anything else, so. So do not put, so when I'm writing this piece right here, I would put, because I'm already saying it's negative because I said decrease, so I would put, what is it, 0.08, yeah, all that jazz. And then this one would be, this one talking about, yeah, the letters. So this one is this. Okay. And this should say A.
You said don't put the negative, right?
Right, you do not. When you say and you state decrease, increase, whatever, that's telling the value of it. What?
This one, I was just saying this one was negative.
So at 0 years old, it would be predicted number of hours. It would be 10.
Is approximately, yeah, 10.2, like I would put 10.22649. I haven't found how many digits they
You
want
get
out.
6.06198, number 9.
Yeah. So as number 9 is saying, I didn't have that one on here either, but I think it's on yours, that it was asking for how many hours of sleep could you predict as far as if they were 49 years old. So yeah, you plug and chug, and I'll put this in the video for you. There we go.
Is it okay if we have a round
Right. Let me show you, okay, on your calculator. I wish that, I'm going to show you a cheat sheet because I'm hearing Ansley fussing about a rounding error. Let me show you a cheat sheet that you can get more comfortable with on using your functions in your calculator. Know which y1 or y2 you have your equation in, okay? So think about that. Make sure you double check where that's at. Go to your home screen, okay? I'm going to show you a cheat sheet. Go to your home screen. All right. Think about what functions do we use in order to get y1, y2. What is that? Where's that at? In our vars, right? So I'm going to hit, in my home screen, I'm going to hit vars. I'm going to tab over to y vars. And I'm going to hit number 1. And I'm going to grab whichever y function I have my equation in. So grab that one. Okay. Hit enter or hit the number that it correlates to. So on your screen, it should show like y1 or y2, right? Okay, what I'm telling it is okay, I want this equation. My next thing I'm going to tell it is what I want to plug and chug with. So I'm going to put in this case, 49 in parentheses. So I'm going to do open parentheses, 49, close parentheses. So I'm going to put this in the video for you. Put it just like this in the calculator. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to tell me what that is valuating it at. So yours should look just like that.